Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news, we've just learned more about two men charged with federal crimes in connection with 5 deadly shootings. A live report minutes away.
In less than 2 hours, Governor Roy Cooper plans to lay out the state's plan for Hurricane Helene relief funds. A preview of what we expect to hear.
And some Honda owners will need to get their cars inspected soon. Coming up, the problem that prompted the automaker to issue a major recall. And we are starting with that breaking news. 2 men face federal charges related to murders of 5 people in Sampson County. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ken Smith in for Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. This happened last October at a house off U.S. Highway 701 in Clinton. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan is live at the U.S. Attorney's Office in downtown Raleigh with brand new information. Chelsea.
Yeah, Renee, so nearly 1 year after 5 people were killed in Sampson County in what was known as a drug home, 2 men are now facing federal charges for those murders, and they could face the death penalty or life in prison if convicted of those crimes. Now, these are the 5 people that died on October 25th on Highway 701 near Garland last year. Their ages range from 33 to 73, and we are learning today some of them were related. Now, U.S. Attorney Michael Easley Jr. says one of the suspects, Robert Williams, was arrested just a few weeks after the murder for a probation violation, but new evidence in the case led to his arrest. Now, a second suspect, Derek George, was arrested a month ago for these murders. Now, they both face drug distribution and robbery charges as well. Now, back when we went to the scene in October, a man who knew the victim says he went into the home to check on these folks and discovered the bodies at that time. Sheriff Jimmy Thornton of Sampson County spoke today about the impact these murders had on his small rural county.
We've never had anything like this to have ever happened before. So certainly it sent shockwaves all across our county. But I can't imagine how all the folks in the Garland area felt that particular night.
Now, authorities did stress this was a targeted shooting with drugs at the center. We'll be going through these indictments and bring you the latest in our later newscasts and on WRAL.com. Live in downtown Raleigh, Chelsea Donovan, WRAL News.
Troopers are looking for a driver who led them on a chase that ended in a crash. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker drove to the scene in Fayetteville where a black car crashed into some bushes. That building you see there is the Cape Fear Adult Day Healthcare Center on Stamper Road. You can see troopers shining their flashlights looking for evidence. We're working to learn more about who the driver is and why the person drove away from troopers.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, the first section of the Blue Ridge Parkway officially opened today in western North Carolina. It opened from Bamboo Gap to Beacon Heights. That is in the Blowing Rock, North Carolina area. This is the first section of highway to open since Helene hit. This is the National Park Service's website here. If you go to their website, they actually still have road and facility closures here because, of course, there is still a lot closed while they work to get everybody back on their feet. Officials say while much work remains, we are prioritizing our efforts in less damaged areas that have the most impacts to the community. They anticipate opening additional sections of the parkway very soon.
Governor Cooper and the state budget director are set to share their recommendations for disaster recovery funding following Hurricane Helene. Well, two bills will hold an afternoon news conference at the Albemarle building around 2 o'clock this afternoon. And that's where we find WRAL's Julian Grace live this afternoon. Julian, what do we know so far?
Well, Ken, let me first tell you this. We will be inside for that news conference this afternoon. And many people here in the state of North Carolina, they are wondering how the state will continue to help those in western North Carolina. Let's go back to some of the images that we have documented over the last couple of weeks of relief efforts underway there right now. Now, the storm has brought a sense of bipartisanship to the state, even during an election year. State lawmakers moved quickly to pass a $273 million disaster relief bill responding to the storm damage from Helene that ravaged western North Carolina. But more funding is needed. Today, we talked with State Senator Kevin Corbin, a Republican from Macon, and he has seen the devastation all too close to home. This afternoon, I asked him how much he believes it would cost to repair western North Carolina.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's the question of the day. I've talked with our budget folks a couple of times, and nobody really has a dollar figure. I can tell you it'll be hundreds of millions of dollars, and I think we can even use the billion word.
Wow. I do want to stress that the state Senator Corbett, he pulled over to the side of the road and parked his car for that interview. He wanted to get that interview done as he continues to work to help the people in Western North Carolina. That said, back out here live. Once again, we'll be inside for that news conference at 2 o'clock, and you can watch it as well. We will be streaming it live on WRAL.com. For now, reporting live in downtown Raleigh, Julian Grace, WRAL News.
Also today, Grandfather Mountain will reopen. Guests will have access to several areas, including the mile-high swinging bridge, Black Rock Trail, Grandfather Loop, the Wilson Center for Nature Discovery, and the Mildred the Bear Environmental Habitats. Tickets are limited during the first phase of reopening, though. Other tourist destinations in the western part of the state will also be reopening soon, including the Biltmore Estate. Beach Mountain Ski Resort and Appalachian Ski Mountain are set to start their season at the end of November.
Buncombe County government resumed normal operations today for the first time since Helene, with a few exceptions. County offices, including early voting sites, and all but 2 DMV offices are open. Trash and recycling routes will resume where accessible. All libraries, except for 3, will reopen today. North Buncombe Fields and Hominy Valley Parks are now open.
Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, is making several North Carolina stops this week. He will arrive at Artie International tonight around 8:30, so be aware of potential traffic delays if you're driving around that time of the night. Tomorrow, Walz will have guest appearances in Durham, Greenville, and Wilmington. Meanwhile, Vice President Harris herself will be back in Pennsylvania tonight for a town hall with CNN. This is video from her last visit to the state last week. The event starts at 9 p.m. and will be moderated by Anderson Cooper.
Today, former President Donald Trump will be in Georgia to hold a town hall in the city of Zebulon. Yes, they have a Zebulon there in Georgia. That's about an hour from Atlanta. Trump was in Greensboro last night for a rally. He talked about targeting inflation and bringing back the American dream.
And happening right now in the WRAL Life Center, we have just learned that J.D. Vance will be coming to North Carolina this week. He will be here on Friday. He is talking at the Defender Ammunition Company. It's an ammunition company in Rayford. Doors open at 12:30 to see him speak, and that is on the same day that former President Barack Obama will be speaking in Charlotte.
Michelle, thanks. Today, a new phase in an effort to bring 100 affordable housing units to Durham's South Side community is underway. City officials hosted a groundbreaking event for the project. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey shares this is a significant step for a development that started 10 years ago.
Today, Durham city leaders talked about new affordable housing options in the area. Now, this particular part of Durham, just south of downtown, will look much different in the next 2 years. The city broke ground on a new section of an affordable housing development. These are the plans for the new addition to the lofts at Southside. 100 new units will be added to the development. There will be some income requirements to stay there, around $45,000 a year or less for individuals and about $64,000 or less for a family of 4. City funds, tax credits, and American Rescue dollars are all funding this project. Resident Annette Love says the expansion will give more seniors the opportunity to pay rent within their budget.
Being a senior, it's important to me and all the seniors in the city of Durham. At our age, we should not really be concerned about where we're going to live or where we're going to make our home. And this is a great opportunity for us here at the Loft at Southside.
This project is set to be complete in April 2026. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Durham.
Well, state officials gathered in Roanoke Rapids this morning for a special ceremony for former North Carolina Congressman G.K. Butterfield. An 8-mile stretch of I-95 from Halifax County to the Virginia state line was renamed in his honor. Butterfield, a Wilson native and longtime champion for civil rights, served in Congress from 2004 to 2022. Congressman Don Davis, who now serves the 1st Congressional District, spoke at this morning's ceremony. And speaking of politics, weighing heavily on the major indices, all in red this noon hour. The Dow off more than 340 points, the S&P down more than 45 points, and the Nasdaq also in negative territory this noon hour.
Let's give you a live look at the State Fair. Next at noon, we will preview tomorrow's Hunger Relief Day and how far your donations could go to help the folks in Western North Carolina.
Also, the hefty fine the federal government is leveling against American Airlines for its mistreatment of passengers with disabilities.
Plus, a second major recall for Honda this month. What the issue is this time and which Honda vehicle owners should get their cars inspected and fixed.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Well, tomorrow is one of the busiest days at the North Carolina State Fair. It's Smithfield Foods Hunger Relief Day, where fairgoers receive free admission for donating non-perishable food items. And this year's event is extra important. Food collected tomorrow will go directly to helping those affected by Hurricane Helene in the western part of our state. And we're so happy to have in studio with us this morning Jonathan Tom, Senior Community Development Manager with Smithfield Foods. Jonathan, it's so great to have you on the program this morning.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We know that this year will be different because of the devastation in the western part of the state. Remind our audience why now more than ever it's so important to bring those donations to the state.
Absolutely. You know, I'll start by telling you what's not different this year, and that's that this event is going to go to help our neighbors facing food insecurity, really touching the lives of those who need it most. And so, of course, this year with the impacts that we've seen in the western part of the state with Hurricane Helene, we know that that's the right area for these donations to go towards and serving our neighbors facing food insecurity in that part of the state.
And, you know, since this happened, there's been an outpouring of supplies and donations. So let's get specific in terms of what are the needs that you're looking for tomorrow when people come to the state fair.
So tomorrow at Smithfield Foods Hunger Relief Day, fairgoers can receive free admittance by bringing 6 canned food items to the fair. So of course we're looking for things like peanut butter in plastic jars, canned fruits, canned proteins as well. So any of those things that you would love to serve to your family is what we're looking for our neighbors in the West as well.
And, you know, Smithfield Foods have been spearheading this event for the last 4 years. Over the years, when you think about all the donations that have come in, what has this meant to the company and the employees, even their families?
Yeah, you know, this event is just an incredible opportunity for us to invite, you know, our neighbors and residents here in North Carolina to join us in the fight against hunger. Smithfield makes donations of protein to food banks all over the country, including right here in the state of North Carolina, all throughout the year. But through this event, we're able to come together and really make a difference for those who need it most.
And, you know, a lot of times we're out there, we're collecting food donations every Thursday of the state fair. Smithfield Foods out there for the last 4 years. What are some of the stories that you've heard over the years in terms of people bringing donations and also enjoying the fair?
Yeah, you know, I love this event because there's no better way to enjoy the fair by also doing good as soon as you walk in those gates. So by coming in, making those donations, you know, we've seen folks coming in, kids just dragging bags as big as they are to donate, and it just means so much. We're bringing together agriculture with the state fair. We're bringing together that fun, that fellowship, and also doing good in the local community.
You know, we raise tons of food every Thursday. What would success look like for you tomorrow? At the end of the day tomorrow, what would you think would be successful when it comes to this Hunger Relief Day?
Yeah, you know, in years past, we've donated as much as 250,000 pounds of food through this event. And so, of course, every year we just hope that this event will get bigger and better. And so if everyone who comes out to the fair gets their admittance by donating those canned food items, that would be success to me.
Excellent. So I got to ask you, what are you most looking forward to tomorrow?
Yeah, you know, it's we'll have our Smithfield space out there by Dorton Arena. We'll be giving away some free bacon samples as well. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is just that time interacting with folks here in North Carolina, giving out some free bacon and seeing the smiles.
You had me at bacon. Jonathan Tom at Smithfield Foods, all the best tomorrow because the need is so great in the western part of our state. Thank you to you and your company for what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
All right. Renee.
Hope it is one of the busiest days at the state fair with all those canned food donations, and you can do some good. Be sure to stop by our tent to meet members of the WRAL team while you're at the fair. Our tent is up in the usual spot on the northeast side of Dorton Arena. Kat Campbell and Eric Miller will be there from 2 until 3. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is out there on the fairgrounds right now. She just wrapped up her shift over at the WRAL tent with Jeff Hogan. And Elizabeth, I'm sure lots of the folks who stopped by just kept commenting on how beautiful the weather is.
It is such a perfect day to be here. I mean, really, just wonderful. But we've had a stretch of beautiful days here at the State Fair. And you know, there's a special activity that happens every day at the State Fair, and this is Military Appreciation Day. And they do some really neat things. They have reenactors here from across the state, and it starts from the 1500s. Take a look at these reenactors on the stage, and they're explaining, you know, where they were, which uniform they used for which battle. It's really, really interesting. And then take a look at this line. It's over here. This is 1500s, and then it goes from the 1600s all the way up to current time. And all of these folks are reenactors showing the uniforms from North Carolina. It's really, really fascinating. So again, Military Appreciation Day, really neat stuff there. We're going to take a look at what is happening out here at the fair in terms of our current temperatures. It's really nice out right now. 75 degrees is our current temperature, and we're looking at 53 as the dew point. So really looking beautiful out here again. You can see a lot of people out here on the Midway. 72 in Roxborough, 77 in Fayetteville, 76 degrees in Clinton right now. It's just a gorgeous noon hour out here. And it's going to be beautiful for the rest of the day too. Looking at a high of 81 to 82 this afternoon around 3 o'clock. If you're headed out later on this afternoon or evening, by 6 or 7 o'clock, we're at 70 degrees and then into the 60s this evening. So feeling really pleasant. This morning it wasn't quite as cold as it was the last several mornings. And we're about to see some cool downs though. We'll see a front that comes through tomorrow. That's going to bring us a slight drop in our temperatures. Saturday night is a second front. It's going to bring a very small chance of showers, but it's going to create a big drop in our temperatures. So we're going to go from 80s on Saturday to 60s on Sunday. So you can see the warm air in place right now. And then you can see Thursday's front moving through. Notice how the color contour turns a little blue. We'll be back down into the mid-70s. And then it warms up a bit, and then behind the second front, we're going to see high temperatures back into the 60s. So we really do cool things down pretty considerably. 71 is our normal high, so looking at a little roller coaster ride. We'll go from 82 Saturday to 66 on Sunday. And Sunday may be a little bit cloudy as well, but we're not expecting any rain. More amazing events that are happening over the weekend. You don't want to miss this. This is Music for the Mountains. That happens Sunday at 6 p.m. And the temperatures for that mostly will be in the 50s. And we're looking at, of course, this is just a wonderful event for, it's going to raise money for folks out in the mountains of North Carolina. Back here at the State Fair, taking a look at our 7-day forecast first. Of course, we're looking at, 70s for the next couple of days, and then some warm-ups on and off. But look at this. Of course, we've got the parade again of our uniforms from throughout the centuries, and this will continue on for a little bit longer. And then we have some other folks that I want you to meet that we met just a little while ago, and we'll be back with a military sorority coming up in just a little bit.
Well, we appreciate seeing what's going on there on Military Appreciation Day, and we want to say thank you to all those who have served. More than 20% of North Carolina voters have already voted in this election. Some people are reporting problems at early voting sites, with poll workers telling them that they've already voted absentee. Today at 4, our state government team is looking into why this is happening and how you can make sure your vote counts.
And we're days away from the Music for the Mountains concert benefiting the people of Western North Carolina recovering from Helene. At 5, we hear from one of the bands performing and why the North Carolina mountains are so important to them. Our news continues now. Some Honda owners will need to get their cars inspected very soon. The problem that prompted the automaker to issue a major recall.
Plus, it's been a record-setting season for the WNBA, from opening season tip-off attendance to Game 5 of the finals. How the league is enjoying triple-digit growth.
The U.S. government fined American Airlines a record $50 million for mistreating passengers with disabilities. The penalty is a result of an investigation by the DOT between 2019 and 2023. The investigation uncovered cases of unsafe assistance that resulted in injuries. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg also says thousands of wheelchairs were damaged by the airline during that span. Boeing's union members vote on a new contract today, and that could end their strike. It involves 35% wage increase over 4 years, the reinstatement of an incentive program, a ratification bonus, and a one-time 401k boost. Some employees seem on board with the new deal, while others sound unimpressed. The walkout involves about 33,000 workers and has lasted more than a month. The strike is costing Boeing an estimated $1 billion a month.
Honda is recalling more than 720,000 vehicles linked to potential fuel pump issues. The recall applies to 2025 Civic and hybrid vehicles, 2023 and 2024 Accords and hybrids, as well as CR-V hybrids from 2023 to 25. Owners should go to a Honda dealer as soon as possible for an inspection and free replacement part. No injuries have been linked to this recall. Amazon is shutting down a service that offers same-day delivery from malls and brick-and-mortar retailers. The service, called Amazon Today, allowed retailers who sell on Amazon to offer speedy delivery from their physical stores. Amazon's contracted flex drivers would then drop the packages off within hours. Select retail partners will still be able to fulfill orders through January.
Well, Game 5 of the WNBA Championships was the most watched WNBA Finals in 25 years. More than 2 million people watched the New York Liberty hold off the Minnesota Lynx 67-62 in an overtime thriller to capture the Liberty's first WNBA title. That's especially impressive considering the National Football League's Sunday Night Football and Major League Baseball's National League Championship Series aired at the same time. Well, tomorrow morning, the Liberty will be honored with a ticker tape parade through New York City.
And let's give you a live look at Carolina Beach right now. Look at all that sunshine there. Just looks absolutely beautiful. And we will warm up into the 80s here in the Triangle as we continue with our new newscast. But first, here's a look at your winning lottery numbers.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Israeli jets struck several buildings in Lebanon's southern coastal city of Tyre. Well, today, sending large clouds of black smoke into the air. NBC's Matt Bradley reports the strikes come as Secretary of State Antony Blinken tries to renew ceasefire talks in the region.
The situation here in Lebanon has continued to worsen, even though last night was relatively quiet by the standards of the night before that and the night before that, when we saw comprehensive Israeli bombardments here in Beirut, mostly in the southern neighborhood, in the Bekaa Valley, and in southern Lebanon. But we are hearing that the Israelis are now demanding that people in the southern city of Tyre leave that city as they expand their ground operations and their bombardments across the country. Now, we've heard from health officials here that some 63 people were killed yesterday. More than 200 were injured. That brings the death toll ever since the beginning of these hostilities here in Lebanon, a day after those October 7th attacks last year, to well more than 2,500 people dead. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in Israel yesterday. Now he's in Saudi Arabia. In both places, he's trying to rally allies, trying to get them to encourage some sort of peace deal in the Gaza Strip and here in Lebanon and across multiple borders with Iran. It is a fast-moving situation with different moving parts, and it is a diplomatic nightmare for the United States and U.S. partners in the region. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Beirut, Lebanon.
The U.S. and Western allies are moving forward with a $50 billion loan package to Ukraine, backed by the profits of frozen Russian assets. Western nations froze Russia's assets in bank accounts located within Europe and the U.S. after Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered the invasion of Ukraine in 2022. The Biden administration says the aid is vital for Kiev's war-torn economy heading into the winter months.
Wake County deputies are searching for a man who ran off when they tried to serve an arrest warrant. Sky 5 right here over that scene where this happened off Graham Newton Road. They're looking for 49-year-old Kevin Nichols. Nichols is wanted in Caldwell County for violating a domestic violence protection. They don't believe there's any threat to the public, though. We're learning more about a vehicle crash involving a pedestrian in Clayton. It happened last Tuesday morning around 8:30 on Athletic Club Boulevard. We do know police are working alongside the Johnston County's District Attorney's Office, and this time we're still waiting to find out how many people were hurt and the extent of their injuries.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, Goldman Sachs and Apple are paying big bucks after the company's mishandling of their Apple Card partnership. They've been ordered to pay $89 million because of this, and Goldman was temporarily banned from issuing new credit cards. These failures left customers with unresolved charge disputes and, in some cases, incorrect credit reports as well. Apple neglected to send tens of thousands of Apple Card disputes to Goldman Sachs. Both companies have agreed to the resolution here.
October is Learning Disabilities and Dyslexia Awareness Month. Doctors say it's critical the public show support to those affected. Dyslexia is the most common type of learning disability. People with the language-based reading disorder have very specific challenges, including word recognition or decoding.
Currently, the data shows that 15 to 20% of the population exhibit some difficulties with reading. So they may be exhibiting some characteristics of dyslexia, whether they have a diagnosis or not. And that is 1 in 5. The earlier one gets the support they need, the better chances they have of overcoming their difficulties.
Signs of dyslexia in children can include trouble spelling simple words, issues with telling certain letters with similar shapes apart, and being fearful to read aloud.
Well, today's Teacher of the Week is in her 29th year as an educator. I recently visited her in Harnett County to meet her, who has overcome personal challenges for the sake of her students. But Christina Rimbach, becoming a teacher is a tribute to her late mother.
My mom passed away when I was 8. And my older siblings told me that she wanted to be a teacher.
So, for the last 29 years, with no plans to stop anytime soon, Rimbach, now a history teacher at Western Harnett High School, is doing what her mother didn't get a chance to do.
When you do the short answer, this is a discussion.
This calling, though, has not been easy.
And I have multiple sclerosis. And so I've had some major setbacks, but I have always come back, and I've taken time off, but always made sure to be here the first day of school and be here for the last day of school.
In 29 years, even undergoing 2 spinal surgeries, Rimbach says she's missed only 1 graduation. And the reason she keeps working her way back to the classroom every time? Well, the children.
Because it makes an impact, it makes a difference, it makes a change. If I can fix one child's day and make them smile or make them laugh, when they come through the door in the morning, I greet every single child with good morning.
Ms. Rimbach, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week.
Are you?
Congratulations. Give her a hand. If you'd like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com, enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
Oh, what a gem of a teacher, Ken. Mothers turning grief into action. How they're making medication that reverses an opioid overdose available to anyone.
Also a first in the NBA, seeing a father and his son play in the same game, how LeBron James described this historic moment. And remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app or on your streaming device.
A new festival is coming to the Bull City next spring. Biscuits and Banjos is the brainchild of two-time Grammy winner and Greensboro native Rhiannon Giddens. She got her start with the Carolina Chocolate Drops right here in the Triangle. Biscuits and Banjos takes place April 25th through the 27th in downtown Durham. The event features entertainers, a celebrity chef biscuit bake-off, free banjo lessons, and square dancing. A portion of ticket sales and merchandise proceeds will go toward Hurricane Helene relief efforts. Students at Wake Tech will get the chance to hear from NASCAR driver Ross Chastain about safe driving today. Chastain will share more about his experience in the automotive industry during the school's safe driving event. He'll talk about his partnership with the governor's highway safety program and his Protect Your Melon initiative. Students will get the chance to ask questions and get his autograph. He will also be at the State Fair from 4 to 6 p.m.
Well, LeBron and Bronny James shared less than 3 minutes on the court together Tuesday night, but the history-making moment will last a lifetime. Now, before tip-off, the father-son duo spent time on the court with MLB royalty Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. The moment Lakers fans had waited for arrived just before halftime. Bronny played 3 minutes going on 0 for 2, but, snagged a rebound. Of course, King James put on quite the show, but says playing with his son is a memory he'll never forget.
Obviously, that moment, us being at the sports table together and checking in together, something I will never forget, no matter how old I get, no matter how my memory may fade as I get older or whatever, I will never forget that moment.
I totally did feel the energy, and I appreciate the Laker Nation for, showing the support for me and my dad.
Of course, you might think that the highlight was the Lakers' 110-103 win over the Timberwolves, but it was actually the fact that the win came after LeBron and his wife celebrated their daughter Zuri's 10th birthday.
Just so many reasons to celebrate right there. New fallout in a case involving police officers who used their taser on a deaf man. What we've learned about this case today.
Also, you'd expect to find books inside little libraries on the street. Now, some wooden boxes contain a potentially life-saving medical treatment. All charges have been dismissed against a deaf man with cerebral palsy who was shocked with a taser and repeatedly punched by Phoenix police officers. Both officers are now on administrative leave.
Hold him. Move. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
Police accused Tyrone McAlpin of ignoring their commands. The video shows officers repeatedly punching McAlpin and shocking him. His wife arrived a short time later, trying to defuse the altercation.
What
messing with him for no reason.
What kind of disabilities do you have?
He's deaf and he's got cerebral palsy.
Okay.
And I've been on the phone with him since Circle K.
How is he deaf if you've been on the phone?
Because I know sign language, that's why. I signed to.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today.
Breaking news right now. 2 men face federal charges related to the murders of 5 people in Sampson County. This happened last October at a house off U.S. Highway 701 in Clinton. U.S. Attorney Michael Easley Jr. says Robert Williams was arrested just a few weeks after the murder for probation violation, but evidence in this case led to his arrest. A second suspect, Derek George, was arrested a month ago for the murders.
Part of the Blue Ridge Parkway reopened to traffic today in North Carolina, nearly a month after Helene damaged it. It is back open from Bamboo Gap to milepost 305 near Beacon Heights in the Blowing Rock area. And it is the first section of the parkway in North Carolina to open since Helene.
Governor Cooper and the state budget director are set to share their recommendations for disaster recovery funding following Hurricane Helene. The two will hold a news conference around 2 o'clock today at Albemarle Building. State lawmakers have already passed $273 million in the disaster relief bill responding to the storm damage from Helene. We'll let you know what Governor Cooper announces.
DiGiorno is bringing back its Thanksgiving pizza, which the company calls a fan favorite. I'm a little skeptical about that. The frozen creation includes roasted turkey, gravy, green beans, cranberries, crispy onions, with cheese on a Detroit-style crust. This year's version leaves out the diced sweet potatoes from last year, and it will be available at Harris Teeter through November 28th if you want a preview of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's a fan favorite. Okay, I'll take your word for it, DeShano. All right. A paraglider enjoys sharing the Great Pyramids of Giza with the world, but he recently made an awe-inspiring discovery. Last week, he spotted a dog on top of the second highest pyramid in Egypt and shared it on his social media page. The post received nearly 1 million likes in less than 7 days. Well, don't worry, though. He later shared video of a dog climbing down the 442-foot ancient structure. The instructor says he's been thinking about adopting a dog, and he's taking this discovery as a sign from above.
Yeah, that dog has a taste for adventure.
Yes.
Our pet of the day comes to us from Cat Angels NC. This is 4-month-old Gretel, an incredibly sweet little girl. When you sit down, you can bet she'll be in your lap in seconds, ready for snuggles. Don't let her small size fool you. She's brave and enjoys meeting new friends. She has a playful spirit and can't resist chasing after toys. Just fill out an application to meet her on the Cat Angels website.
Yeah, Gretel looks a little sassy there. Well, tooth decay is a problem plaguing 15% of kindergartners in our state. Well, today on WRAL News at 4, the counties in our area are seeing an increase untreated tooth decay and the dental products that will help develop healthy smiles.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.